Hello again. Thanks to anyone who watched along to my series on the top 200 10cc songs. And I do want to do another top 200 based around a particular artist, but there's quite a lot of research to do for that, so I'm hoping to get onto that next year. But in the meantime, I thought I'd try something a bit different and do my pick of 50 songs from the 21st century. It's kind of inevitable that I'm going to gravitate towards the type of music I liked in the 70s or the 80s. And I have found quite a bit of that. But I've also tried to keep my ears open to new approaches in music as much as I can. In other words, I hope this list won't just be a list of old rockers performing victory laps. From their 2004 album, Everybody Loves a Happy Ending. And that was the first with Kurt Smith back since Seeds of Love in 1989. But despite that reunion flavour to the record, the album underperformed, I think. And this track, this great track, I don't think it was even considered as a single, but its stature has grown quite a lot over the years, to the point where now in the live set, I think I'm right in saying it sits in between Everybody Wants to Rule the World and Sowing the Seeds of Love, and it doesn't sound out of place there.
This is a garden, this is a steeple. I hear the crowd before I ever see the people. Yours for the asking and for the taking. There is a power in the vacuum we are making. We don't ever see the crowd. And we can keep it unfettered. I pay no attention to the cradle of the grave.
Tears for Fears very much in anthemic mode here, building up a great song out of three sturdy chunks of music. The pre-chorus does double duty as the introduction, and that's formally quite similar to the famous all for freedom, all for pleasure bit in Everybody Wants to Rule the World, the song I mentioned just now. You've got the Holland Dozier, Holland-like, walking up and down the diatonic chords, building the sense of expectation. And then that flips over into the rousing chorus, which is built on the 4 chord, is really softened out by these lovely major sevenths. You're sort of exchanging the slightly aggressive feel of what you could say is a comparable part of Everybody Wants to Rule the World, which is there's a room where the light won't find you. You're exchanging that aggression for those floaty, dreamy major seventh chords. I think this song was out of time in a way and maybe missed its chance. 15 years after this album, Tears for Fears finally released a follow-up of new material. And by that time, a lot more people had caught on to how great the band is. And I imagined that Secret World is exactly the sort of thing they'd want to hear from Tears for Fears. But in fact, that new album was rather pinched and inward-looking, introspective set of songs, missing anything like this tune, which would have really gone over big, I think. At number 49, I have Lower Your Eyelids to Die with the Sun by M83. They are a French electronic rock group, I think Wiki calls them. where the only constant is the founder member, Anthony Gonzalez. And his outfit is named after an entire galaxy, Messier 83, if I have that right. This is taken from their third studio album, 10 minutes long or 8 minutes long, I think, depending on which version you choose. It's really nothing more or less than an endlessly cycling chord sequence, which is moving at a glacial pace, constantly resolving back to itself. Really hypnotic. That sequence and a ton of atmosphere laid on top. I know it sounds a bit like part of a lost piece by Pink Floyd, marooned in the middle of an album side, you know, without the song parts, with lyrics by Waters at the front and the back. But I'm not suggesting that what is here is incomplete. While you're on and listening to this, you are spirited away and caught up in that slow motion resolve.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer for danger, I'd hammer for a warning, yeah. I'd hammer for you and me, my brothers and my sisters, all over, over this land.
At number 48, I've got a cover, and I guess covers are allowed in this list if, in time-honoured fashion, you know, a cover version brings something new and you appreciate something new about an existing piece. Anyway, this is the Hammer song, commonly known as If I Had a Hammer, and this version is by Sean O'Hagan, and this is an outstanding version of a song I didn't even realise that I liked before I heard this version. The Hammer song was written in 1949 and first performed by its writers Pete Seeger and Lee Hayes. It's been a standard since at least the 60s, and it's a very clear-eyed protest song with its simply expressed themes of solidarity and communication. Popularised in the 60s by Peter, Paul and Mary and Trini Lopez. Sean O'Hagan, for those that don't know, is a leader of a band called the High Llamas, and he's also personally quite forthright in his socialist views. So in one way, this song is an obvious choice for him. But it's interesting, the songs he writes for the Llamas, he deliberately obscures any of that kind of direct communication. Everything is hidden by abstract language and in some extent the abstract approach to the music as well. I suppose there are clues in the Llamas lyrics if you know where to look. I'm not quite sure how he came to pick this song, which as far as I know doesn't have a proper commercial release at all. This bespoke video just turned up during lockdown in 2020. And I was instantly drawn to this version. I wasn't quite sure why initially, but then I realised that he'd llamified it, if I can put it that way. He's broadened out those vanilla chords in the original. I think there's just 4 straightforward diatonic chords in the original song, but he's expanded them, including what I think is a key moment. He's turned one of those chords into a lovely transitional 2 minor over 5, and that really provides a lovely moment of yearning before we go over to the second part of the verse.
If I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing it for danger, I'd sing it for a warning.
And that same chord is used to elongate the instrumental tail after the refrain before you cycle round into the next verse. It's a very Lamas thing to do that. It's the same impulse that had us waiting for several minutes on the track. Track Goes By from Gideon Gay, which the music kind of hangs for ages before it resolves. And there's tons of, I'm trying to watch what he does on the guitar here, and I can't quite work it out, but he's adding lots of other interesting little harmonic specialties as well. And when you add in his plaintive vocal and the lovely harmonica, which was obviously overdubbed later, because this is primarily a live performance from what I imagine is his, well, spare room, I should think, in his house. And you've got the power of the original song, of course, and maybe there's something to do about the time at which this song was released, you know, lockdown, bringing forth thoughts of connection and community, so on. And if you add all those things together, you've just got this magical little cover version, which I really love.
Why would you speak to me that way? Especially when I always said that I haven't got the words for you. All your diction, dripping winter stain. Through the pain, I always tell the truth.
At number 47, I've got Oxford Comma by Vampire Weekend.
Gives a fuck about it, that's the comma. I climbed the dark side of thru. I did it. I met that summer. His accent sounded fine to me.
I don't know, it's just a really cool sounding, catchy song, and that little fit of anger that apparently inspired the song and opens it. Who gives a fuck about an Oxford comma? I love the way that sort of the running on of all that language immediately gives way to a sense of space, and into that slots that almost wordless hook. And we're off into the song proper. And what else do I like about it? I like the way the drums seem to speed up a bit in the B section, and then they slow down again for the next verse. It all sounds very slapdash, but it's probably meticulously planned.
Take your hand up, it's no trick. Take the chapstick, put it on your lips. Crack a smile, adjust my tie. Know your boyfriend, unlike other guys. Why would you lie about how much grow you have? Why would you lie about something dumb like that? Why would you lie about anything at all? First the window, then it's the wall. Little John, he always said
I'm interested in light and shadows. I'm interested in the chaos of the everyday, the juxtaposition of what's going on inside your mind and what's going on all around you all day long. For me, I love so many different things and so many different genres. I grew up playing classical piano, and I loved playing ragtime, for example, and I love new wave and, you know, hardcore electronic music. Aphex Twin is huge for me, and all the new romantic and new wave stuff. If it's about, you know, what is the hub of creativity for me, I must actually say that, if you want me to be honest, England is the center of the universe for me, and probably Sheffield because of Cabaret Voltaire, you know, and Human League.
At number 46, I've got Diet Gum by John Grant from Grant's fourth solo album, Love is Magic. Grant's written a lot of beautiful music, but this isn't an example of that, not at all. It's nevertheless a riveting listen. I didn't realise that until I checked the timings, this actually goes on for 7.5 minutes. But as I say, this track always holds my attention. It's a story about a fucked up couple, really, that can't keep away from each other. It wouldn't work without the spiky electronic kind of music. But the main draw is just eavesdropping on the psychodrama. Grant really does some great writing here. He comes on like a kind of gay, pumped up Randy Newman. He's created these two caricatures here, but you get the feeling he's simultaneously rooting for them both and also egging them on to do their worst.
I manipulate, that is what I do. I manipulate, that's what I'm doing to you. That smirk on your face was designed by me. I fucking curated it like magically.
It's really clever what he's doing here. One side of the conversation that we hear is the inner monologue of the master manipulator within the relationship. Generally speaking, he's kind of robotically singing along four square on top of the electronic downbeats. So we never actually hear this guy's external voice, if you like. We don't actually hear what he's saying. We only get one side of the actual conversation, that of the hapless prey who's being reeled in again to continue this destructive relationship.
Inside of what you might have been. Sound familiar? Do you even know where that cheese is made? It's from Iowa, you dullard. Ever heard of it? I knew this guy from Ames, Iowa. Patrick, he would so not be into you in the most extreme way. By the way, your bedside manner is reminiscent of a chuckle of hyenas, except, yes, it is a chuckle of hyenas, Dr. Turdface. It's a collective noun. Do you even know what a collective noun is, Stupidzilla? Let's...
And Grant really lays it on thick on this guy. He's made to seem ridiculous, and he gets lost in a kind of stream of exasperation and swearing and stuff. And we only hear him reacting to his unheard manipulator.
You did keep me up all night a few times. Really? 463? How could you know that? We only went out for a year. What? I don't know. I was just gonna order out. I was gonna... Well, sure, I guess so. Hey, I'm sorry I sort of snapped at you a few minutes ago. It's nothing personal. I hope you know that.
It would have made a brilliant piece of musical theatre, this. It's quite a unique track. In a Q&A with his listeners, Grant said that Diet Gum was a bit of silliness, while he also admitted that there might be more to it than that. Anyway, whatever it is, it's hilarious.
No, get him in the trash. Get him in the trash. Okay, so what? Oh, God. That shit over in the trash can. Pick it up, dork.
What did you just say?
I said pick it up, dork. Hey, are you little Dicky?
Yeah? Hello?
Yo, little Dicky, my brother thinks you suck.
Okay, your brother probably sucks. Look at how you turned out. You're a rat. Your whole household is probably completely mismanaged.
So like I said, I went through the great YouTube channel Taste Like Music and their recommendations year by year for all the songs of the 21st century. And on each of those episodes, they do a little section where they recommend the worst songs of each year. One of the guys picked this song. And the description and their reaction to how he described it piqued my curiosity. So I went and had a listen. And what I found was a musically puerile number with a school bus auto-tuned chorus and a host of big industry hitters jumping on board to sing an issue record.
We love you, India.
We love you, Africa.
We love you, China.
We forgive you, Germany. It is our planet. We love the earth. It is our home. We love the earth. It is our planet. We love the earth. It is our home.
Doesn't sound like a recipe for success, but there's something about this song which I think was written specifically for Earth Day. It might even be a charity record, I'm not really sure. Along with everything else, this song is rather manipulative in that I think it's designed to appeal to kids as a kind of a naughty record. It contains a load of crude lyrics that they really, inverted commas, shouldn't hear. So you've probably got a huge cohort of kids trying to work out how to graduate from the clean version of this, which apparently they are allowed to hear, to, you know, the illicit thrill of hearing this rude version. So its motivations are a bit questionable, I suppose. But, you know, unlike many people, I think there's space, there's room for novelty or comedy records if they're really well done. And this one certainly is well done.
I'm a fat fucking pig.
I'm a common fungus.
I'm a disgruntled skunk, shoot you out my butthole.
I'm a marijuana plant, I can get you fucked up.
And I'm Kanye West.
We love the earth. It is our planet. We love the earth. It is our home.
Some of the cameos from the big pop stars are hilarious, and there's a few real direct hits from some well-placed one-liners. My favourite might be Snoop Dogg's marijuana plant getting immediately undercut by I'm Kanye West. That isn't Kanye West, by the way. Or maybe it's the what the fuck, I'm a clam. I think everybody agrees that's just a hilarious line. Or how about the passive-aggressive apology to Germany by Lil Dicky, who is a Jewish performer, of course. You know, things like that make you realise this record's quite a bit sharper than it lets on at first. And I suppose you can't very well argue with the underlying message with let's save the earth, let's save the planet. Plus, in terms of this list, my list, I get a bit of a kick of being able to cross off so many A-listers all at once. Just in case you're wondering, you know, in my top 50, we won't be seeing any more Ariana Grande or Justin Bieber or Ed Sheeran, but at least they appear here. And let's face it, they're some of the biggest pop stars of the 21st century. A couple of people who contribute to this record will be back later on, though, so watch out for those.
Just take my
number 44, I've got Clocks All Stopped by Kazim Sultan. Now, Kazim Sultan auditioned for Todd Rundgren's Utopia when he was 20 years old. He recalls how on that audition, Todd played a kind of alpha male game with him, and when the two of them drove up to Bearsville, which is a 3-hour drive, I think, from New York, not a word was said by Todd, but evidently the chemistry soon clicked because Kazim passed that audition and he's now been playing with Todd for almost 50 years. So Todd, Kazim, along with Willie Wilcox and Roger Powell, they formed the lineup of the longest lived and the best version of Utopia. Utopia were a superb recording and live outfit they've been kind of unfairly overshadowed by that giant reputation of Rundgren himself, and they're thought of as a kind of Todd Rundgren side project, but they really are a great deal more than that. In the late 80s, when Utopia were working on what turned out to be their last album, and bear with me because there is a point to this story, the band and the record label alike were a little unhappy because Todd wasn't writing songs that sounded like Todd. That's what you get from collaborating with an iconoclast, I suppose. So what happened at that point, Willie Wilcox stepped in and he started the song Mated himself, using Rundgren-like music and changes, and eventually that evolved into a song that Todd wrote the lyrics for, and they turned that song Mated into a classic in its own right. So the reason I mention that is 25 years later or so, when Todd still wasn't writing songs that sound like Todd, Kazim was working on a solo record, and he went from the starting point of, okay, what would a classic Todd song sound like now? And he and his collaborator, the UK producer Phil Fornelli, came up with this, another great song in its own right. In fact, they eventually got Todd and Roger Powell to sing on it. So he's got 3 of Utopia singing on this song, and Willie Wilcox, who doesn't appear on this song, is on the parent album. So it's an almost Utopia reunion.
It's all there when the Gospels from Magdalene girl comes to pay her respects, but her mind is a whirl when she finds the tomb empty, straw had been rolled, not a sign of a corpse. In the dark and the cold, when she reaches the door, sees an unholy sight. There's this solitary figure in a halo of light. He just carries on floating past Calvary Hill in an almighty hurry. Aye, but you might catch him still.
At number 43, I've got The Last Ship by Sting. This song is part of a song cycle that Sting wrote that eventually became a Tony-nominated musical of the same name. But I think this track works perfectly well as a standalone song, or two in a way, because there's an original version and a reprise version later on in the piece, and I always think of them as one and the same. The musical as a whole is a personal thing for Sting. It's about he, as a ridiculously successful musician, trying to come to terms, I suppose, with his feelings about growing up in the shadow of these giant ships that were built literally at the end of his street on Tyneside. He explains that he was desperate to escape that experience when he was young because he didn't want to end up working in a shipyard. But, you know, now older, he needs to honour that experience. And you do get a sense of that ambivalence from this lovely miniature waltz. The lyrics are really great on this too. I'm particularly partial to the fact that both versions of this song misdirect the listener in terms of what the actual subject of the song is. We start both of them with shaggy dog stories about either the resurrection of Christ or some kind of surreal argument about the royal family disputing seats on a train, depending on which version of the song we're talking about. But it's revealed that the song isn't actually anything to do with either Christ or Queen Elizabeth II. These introductory characters are just part of the horde moving towards and needing to witness the last ship sailing. It's a really cinematic piece of writing. I can picture a camera tracking back to reveal those gathering crowds. As an aside, I do like the aspect that Jesus is rendered as a chauvinist Geordie. Ah, don't hinder me, woman. A nice little touch, that.
Tell me where are you going, Lord, and why in such haste? Now don't hinder me, woman. I've no time to waste, for they're launching a boat on the morrow at noon, and I have to be there before daybreak. Oh, I cannot be missing the lads will expect me. Why else would the good Lord himself resurrect me? For nothing will stop me. I have to prevail through the teeth of this tempest, in the mouth of a gale. May the angels protect me if all else should fail and the last ship sails.
Sting sings this song in a kind of exaggerated Wallsend accent, but he gets away with it because when you come to think of it, maybe when he was singing the tracks on Zenyatta Mondata, maybe that was when he was singing in an exaggerated accent. There's a great combination of relatively simple chords in the upper parts, folky type music, and the bass parts has got this beautiful chromatic movement. Sometimes they track upwards, these bass notes, they hold for a while, then they track upwards again. And the tension between the right hand and the left hand of the chords, if I can describe it that way, really makes for some lovely music. And at a larger level, there's two half-step modulations hoisting the whole of the song upwards, and they're cunningly disguised, these modulations, amongst the thickets of all these smaller scale chromatic movements. It's great writing in this song.
It's a strange kind of beauty, it's cold and austere, and whatever it was that you've done to me here, it's the sum of your hopes, your despairs and your fears, when the last ship sails. Oh, the first to arrive saw these signs in the east, like that strange moving finger at Balthazar's feast, where they asked the advice of some wandering priest, and the sad ghosts of men whom they thought long deceased, and whatever got said they'd be counted at least, when the last ship sails.
And I am always supreme.
Number 42 is Adorn by Miguel. Medium-sized hit in the US, number 17 on the Billboard chart. Don't think it made much of an impression in the UK at the time, but it did earn 3 Grammy nominations, this song, and it won for Best R&B Song of the Year. Skeleton musically is pretty straightforward. It's just a 4-chord turnaround, but there's a lot more going on than that. For a start, you've got Miguel's steamy vocal front and center. He's pleading, he's cajoling while he preens, and his vocal moves are very good. And there are some R&B ghosts whispering in his ear that I can hear. Marvin Gaye is an obvious reference point, particularly Sexual Healing. And his vocal approach is a bit like Michael Jackson. He's even got his own signature vocal tick, like Jackson had. In Miguel's case, it's a kind of half-swallowed hiccup. very weird sound. And then there's Prince, who once wrote a very good song with a similar title, Adore. But I think Prince actually did Miguel a favour by using up the title. Adorn is subtly different, and it's more physical because he's actually talking about, I think he's talking about draping himself over the object of his affections. I note this song is actually about his girlfriend, then his wife, now his ex-wife.
These eyes, I can't wait to see your grin. Ooh, baby, just let my love adorn you. Please, baby, yeah, you gotta know that I adore you. Yeah, baby. What?
This move of static bass and moving bass is repeated throughout the song, along with the trick of muting the bass entirely, and it really builds the song because not a lot else is happening harmonically. It's just following these 4 chords. Great piece of production. I think it's actually quite surprising that, given the fact that the dynamics are pretty much covered by the way this song is produced, Miguel actually throws in a proper bridge about, well, quite late in the song, 3/4 of the way through it. And the last bar of that, the way he gets out of that bridge back into the main section, he sends out a couple of real wild transitional chords.
Oh yeah, the same way that the stars on the skies, yeah. And look up to, hey. The same way that my whole world's in your eyes. Ooh, and it's time down, and you gotta know that I adore you. Touch that darling. Let my love adorn you, baby. Don't you let nobody tell you different, baby. I always adore you now, baby. You gotta know now. The truth must be the truth, unvarnished in its telling. Otherwise, it's just haiku. People won't notice you're peddling. See ya, and they're burning the heather. Sheepdogs are running hell for leather. Seasons are changing, time's moving along. Give me a drink and I'll be gone.
At number 41, I have Burning the Heather by the Pet Shop Boys. There was always such a melancholy streak in those Tennant and Lowe songs, right back to the very first one, West End Girls. It's always seemed like a real sad song to me. So it's not surprising that my pick for their best song of the past 25 years would be a sad one too, not one of their clubby anthems. What is surprising about this song is the setting. It's set in the country rather than that urban setting that we'd expect from a Pet Shop Boys track typically. I do like the lyrics here. The protagonist seems a bit out of his element. It's as if he's noticing the rituals of the countryside in autumn for the first time, or something like that. I do love the lyric, sheepdogs are running hell for leather. Or maybe this Countryfile experience was inspired by the Pet Shop Boys' guest appearance on The Archers. The more you gaze into this lyric, the less idyllic it seems to get. It's a little unclear what the protagonist has come out to the country to do. Has he come here to make a deal? If so, what kind of deal? Is he attempting to announce the end of something? He seems to roll back from his intentions at the end anyway. There's a bit of a trick ending. Anyway, lyrics aside, the tune carries this. It's simply beautiful. It's got Bernard Butler playing the guitar, nothing fancy. It's just strumming some nice chords. Neil's singing might be a career best. Beautiful song. As one YouTube commenter said, 80s minds never grow old. And so ends our first episode. Songs 50 through 41 are done. Join me next time for the next set of 10. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.
Let's go away.